Strength is a skill.
Most motivational videos will tell you to work hard and push every set to failure. While this approach is effective for building muscle size, it is not the best way to train for strength. Strength requires a different strategy, one that prioritizes working smart over simply working hard. So, how do you get strong?
So big grip, the more you can grip, the better the radiation. Cross your legs. Now, centrate and take your brain to this whole backside. Don't hit your teeth there and just explode and jump off. Done.
Consider powerlifter Brian Carroll, who at around 300 pounds could perform a pull-up with more force than most people half his size. How is that possible? The answer lies in the philosophy of Pavel Tsatsouline, who famously stated, "Strength is a skill." Like any skill, strength needs consistent and intelligent practice. You don't improve your baseball swing by swinging until your arms are sore. Instead, you focus on perfect repetitions, ingraining the proper movement pattern. The same applies to strength training. The goal is to develop stronger neurological connections between your brain and muscles.
Stepanov was his last name. He was measuring the electrical activity in the muscles of weightlifters who were pressing overhead, and back then the press was one of the competition events. And what he found is, as the athletes got stronger, after some months, the EMGs started dropping off when they're lifting the same weights. So pretty much he found out that the nervous system activity became more economical. They were able to try less hard, yet still lift the same weights. Or pretty much they could try harder and lift even heavier weights.
One critical factor to consider when training for strength is lactic acid buildup. That familiar burning sensation in your muscles during intense exercise. While lactic acid is useful for hypertrophy, muscle growth, it hinders maximal muscle recruitment, making it counterproductive for strength training. Lactic acid interferes with your ability to recruit your muscles, hence making it harder to perform the exercise. This is not a bad thing if your goal is hypertrophy, but for strength it is a no-go.
The Hebbian mechanisms, so pretty much every time that you activate a particular connection, synaptic connection, between the neurons, that connection becomes stronger. So if you do it over and over and over. So the grease the groove is the analogy is that command that's coming in from your brain to your muscles, that's the groove. That's that pathway. And the more you use it, pretty much the more grease it becomes. So it's like becomes a superconductor. So in the future, you don't have to try as hard to lift the same amount of weight, or you can try the same amount and you can lift harder.
Enter Grease the Groove, GTG, a method that allows you to train strength efficiently without inducing excessive fatigue. GTG is simple. Pick an exercise you can perform multiple times per week, pull-ups for example. Instead of maxing out every set, perform around half of your maximum reps per set, focusing on high frequency and perfect technique. The goal is to execute numerous sets throughout the day, reinforcing the movement pattern and enhancing neuromuscular efficiency. Technique is everything. Each rep should be executed with precision, as this reinforces the correct motor engram. Poor technique, on the other hand, weakens the movement pattern and reduces your potential strength gains. One practical way to implement GTG is by incorporating pull-ups on leg days. Since your grip won't be overly fatigued from lower body training, you can execute pull-ups without compromising other exercises. GTG isn't limited to bodyweight movements. It can also be applied to compound exercises like squats. Pavel explains this principle in detail, demonstrating how strategic practice leads to significant strength gains.
To get stronger, first of all, you need to lift weights that are heavy enough. And if you're looking about percentages of one rep max, we're looking at like 75 to 85 typically. If you go too light, you don't make the impression on your nervous system, and it's just not specific enough. If you go too heavy, very quickly, you're just going to burn yourself out. And so pretty much like it's a weight that's heavy enough to respect and light enough not to fear. And the second of all, and this is very surprising, is you only do about half or fewer reps that you possibly could do. And the gym bros at this point go crazy, like, where's the intensity? Well, intensity in strength training is just how heavy the weight is. tries to grease the groove, you're trying to train moderately heavy as often as possible while staying as fresh as possible.
Train smart, not just hard, and you'll unlock strength beyond what you thought possible.